Welcome to Jen's Daily Dish. Today we're going to be making Millionaire's shortbread. I know you're thinking, what is Millionaire shortbread? It is something that is common over in England, but I'm going to bring it on over here so you too can make it. Imagine shortbread with a layer of caramel, with a layer of chocolate on top, and it is a scrumptious, yummy bar delight. You'll love it. Promise. Also because I want to make Millionaire's delicious shortbread. It just might be the best I ever had. It might be. The first thing you'll want to do, preheat your oven to 325 degrees. The second thing you're going to want to do is to get a square pan out. This happens to be 9-inch. The recipe calls for an 8-inch pan, so my Millionaire's shortbread might be a little bit thinner than what they should be, but they will still be utterly delicious. Line your pan with parchment paper because we'll be using this to lift it out of the pan. I know what you're thinking. Shortbread, caramel chocolate, that sounds like a Twix bar. Why, yes, it kind of is like a Twix bar, but taken to a whole new, delicious level. Yes! Let's make the shortbread. 12 tablespoons unsalted butter, room temperature. Half a cup sugar. 1.5 cups all-purpose flour. Half teaspoon salt. Beat until light and fluffy, about 2 minutes. Have you forgotten to like or subscribe? Go ahead, do it now. It helps me out a whole lot. YouTube will be able to find me better when you like and subscribe, and then I'll be able to make more videos. It's a win-win. Add 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour and half a teaspoon salt. Beat on low until the mixture is just combined and the texture of coarse sand. All right, let's see if it feels like coarse sand. It does. It's a little gritty between my fingers, so I'm going to stop here and put it in the pan. Put the mixture in your pan, and we're going to press it down to get it out to the edges. Quick tip, using wax paper will help get this spread out much easier than using a spatula. Okay, it looks like I've gotten it into most of the corners and such, so let's lift up the wax paper and see what it looks like. Look at that, pretty good, pretty good. Never done that before. Not too bad. I'm just going to get down the edges a little bit. So you have a very clear edge. Bake until the top is dry and a light golden brown. Keep an eye on it. Should be in the oven for about 30 to 35 minutes if you have an 8-inch pan. Because mine is a little bit thinner in a 9-inch pan, I'm going to keep an eye on it and watch it at about 20 minutes or so. Let's do this. Time's up. It looks like it's a light golden brown. Let's see if it is dry to the touch. it is dry. So let's take it out and let it cool. Then we're gonna make the caramel. Get your saucepan at the ready and keep a watchful eye, because I've never made caramel before and I've heard of disaster stories where it gets burned and then you have burned caramel, which is still good, but not as good as not burned caramel. Let's do this. Heat your saucepan to medium heat. Add a can of sweetened condensed milk. 4 tablespoons of butter. 2 tablespoons light corn syrup. A half teaspoon salt. Keep a watchful eye and keep stirring for about 10 to 20 minutes. Right now it's this milky yellow color. You want this to look like butterscotch or caramel. After about 10 minutes or so, we'll be checking it with our handy dandy instant read thermometer. It should read about 220 to 225 degrees. All right, let's check the temperature. We are there. Let's take it off and put it right onto our shortbread. Stir in half a teaspoon of vanilla. And then we'll get it right on top of our shortbread. You can see it's starting to cool down a little bit. Spread it in an even layer. Now let's melt the chocolate. I have here semi-sweet chips, but you can use whatever chocolate you want. Slow and steady wins the race with melting chocolate. Feel free to use double broiler as well. Okay, let's get it on top. Stuck it in the refrigerator to cool faster because I wanted to try them. Let's give this a go. Oh, lifts out easily. Look at that. Nice. All right. Let's check this out. Okay, this is not the most perfect Millionaire's bars you've ever seen, but let's try a bite. Hearing a nice crunch. Let's take a look. Look at that. You can see the shortbread and the layer of caramel, which admittedly could be darker, and the lovely chocolate on top. Let's give it a bite. Inspection time. All right, let's take a look at the shortbread first. It has a nice crunch when I cut into it, which is exactly what a shortbread should be. It should have some sort of crunch. And it looks like it baked really nicely and through. It is very even, and I even got it in a flat layer. The caramel, on the other hand, well, that could use some work. So feel free to leave me comments on how I can make the caramel better. I got a little excited when it reached the right temperature and poured it over, but it probably, admittedly, could have used a little bit more time. So it's a little bit pale, but I'm sure it is still delicious. And you know what I say, that's all that matters, that it tastes good. As for the chocolate, I had some difficulty getting it nice and smooth on top, but you know what? I think it still looks fantastic. And it's pretty relatively even across the cookie bar. So there's only one thing left to do. Taste. Yes, let's do this. That That is really good. It is a Twix bar to a whole nother level. The shortbread is delicious. And then I get that caramel flavor with the mixture in the middle. And the chocolate on top just tops it off. Mmm. Mmm. If I can do this, even with kind of messing up the caramel, but it still turned out fantastic, you can too. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave me comments, let me know your music choices.